With you, we might scope out that area looking for somebody to match that description. Okay? Always make sure, and in the case of a nuisance property, first rule, when you call, don't tell them it's your house. Tell them I am calling about the nuisance house.
Give the address of the nuisance, right.
Okay, something bizarre happened yesterday to me, about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and you keep talking about calling the police, and I certainly understand the value of that, but this one kind of left me puzzled because a policeman was there. I'm out working in my yard, my backyard, and I go out to do something else in my backyard, and a police car is there with the patrolman standing at the back, and he's letting this black gentleman get these like pillowcases out of the back of the trunk of the police car, along with some electronics. And I'm like, just staring at them. And the next thing I know, the black guy does this whole big like hi, and I just said, you know, you're waving at me like you know me, and you don't know me. And I was like, what? Excuse me.
What I would suggest in this,
What was that about?
Well,
I know that police don't just let people, if they pick somebody up, they just don't carry their stuff around in the back of their trunk. I mean, what was that? And who do I contact about my concern about that matter?
Captain
you
Leishock.
definitely can call either Officer Calabro or Captain Leishock himself. Or if it's during the day like that, the captain's not in, if you call 444-0100 and ask for the watch commander for the 3rd District, okay? And if they say, oh, he's out in the field, say, get me somebody I can talk to. Don't take no for an answer. And try and find that out, because that does seem a little weird.
I just thought it was real weird.
I mean, I guess I'm not going to stand here and hypothesize. I mean, maybe they were dropping some guy off and he's pretending to be an undercover drug addict. I don't know. You know.
He waved to him.
No, but I'm saying he might have been somebody who he's got some electronics in a bag, and maybe they're dropping him off to pretend to do a buy.
You know, I thought about that, but I honestly God, I thought, you know, if there's some
right
questions
answer
going on here, I don't want to piss the policeman off.
Well, no. To get the right answer, you got to call the captain to find out, because all we can do is speculate. That's not going to get anywhere.
Did everybody see the pictures of the fire that I posted that happened on my blog today?
Yeah.
I posted it to the Yahoo group, and when I went outside, I started looking around. I couldn't believe it. I counted 14 of my neighbors on my block that came out. I had no idea that they were home during the day.
I just got stuck to the stand.
So all my neighbors are out. I'm like, this is amazing. This may be why my block doesn't have a lot of crime. Not that I know of, but it was really interesting. And the other thing I wanted to mention too was last week, I don't have a cell phone, and I came out of my garage at 10 at night to take I was taking my dog somewhere, and there was a black truck parked in the alley, no one around, big black truck just there. So I went over to, Dustin lives behind me on Hartford, so I stopped by his house, asked to use his phone, called it into the police, left his house, took my dog for a romp, and when I came back on Bent, right here, there's the black truck, and there's a cop car in front of it, and there's a cop car behind it that had pinned it in. But the black truck, and this was about 40 minutes later, no longer looked like it did when I first saw it. It looked as if someone had took it a sledgehammer and went all over this truck. So I don't know, I never even called to find out what had happened, but, and I can't assume anything, but it was very peculiar. So there's, you know, we're inside with our central air, our AC on, and we really can't hear what's going on in the street. But I know that the police always say, if you hear a sound, like, you think maybe it's glass breaking, and you'll stop and listen, but if you don't hear another follow-up sound, you just dismiss it. So I think if we hear something, it's time to go outside and take a look around. And Krista told me she has some information too.
Just a little bit. I was at South Patrol on Friday. I work, like I office up for Grand Oak Hill with the MAP program and the nuisance property program, and have been talking with a lot of the officers there about what's been going on in this neighborhood, because they also know I live here. Big thing, it seems like a lot of the reports they're getting in, they are doing the front door knock, they're coming around the back. If you've got a fence, put a lock on your gate. Do not give them an easy way to get in and out with your stuff. If you've got a padlock on that gate, and they can't, even if it's a 4-foot fence, they're not gonna be able to take the time to get your plasma TV over that, and they probably don't have bolt cutters. That's number one. Number two, keep your lights on. I hear so many people say, oh, I don't wanna leave my lights on because then it looks like I'm not home. It's completely the reverse. It's dark, they can get right in. Third thing is, with the nuisance stuff going on, make sure, if you see something suspicious, call 911. Everyone's like, oh, well, I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about calling it. It just could be nothing. Everybody needs to call, especially right now. If you've got a rental property that's near you, that there is suspicious activity going on, call. Call, call, call. And it will eventually get handled. But that's just the biggest thing I can say. If you're not comfortable with making an emergency, call 911 and say, this is a non-emergency, but this is going on. I want to report it. Get the record that it's been called in.
Yeah.
She's right. We had a really, really bad property, 3949 Fairview.
I know it.
We had gang members there.
Yeah.
We called. I think the police were there like 3 and 4 times, sometimes during the day. They were always there. Did you know, as he had started in May, we got him out by the 4th of July. They were out. We just called all the time. But when there's something really crazy, the landlord did not change the locks like he said he was. So this past Saturday, there was 2 gang members that came. They were working their stuff, but they came to hide where they lived before because they knew it was empty. They hadn't
Call
changed the
report
locks.
it.
We did, and they got them. They got them. They hauled them out.
Yay, good for you.
Because our neighbor saw them coming up the alley. I didn't see him because it's across the street, but she lives across the street. When she saw him, they got him. I swear that property was so bad. You would not believe what we had there. But we called every day, every night, and the police were there every day, every night. They're gone now.
And like Mike said, a lot of the crime is probably coming from someone that lives in the neighborhood. More than likely, they're not a homeowner. More than likely, they're possibly a renter. So keep an eye out.
Those are the worst ones.
You know what Chris just said about having your gates padlocked? I have a really old back gate, probably original to the house, and there was no way to really put a lock on it. So I got a piece of chain. I chiseled out mortar in the foundation of my building about 2 inches back, put part of the chain into the building. Okay, my neighbor helped me a whole lot. I didn't do all of this. I did a little chiseling, but it's mortared in now, the chain that leads to the gate, and there's a padlock on the gate. And there's a padlock on my back gate too. And if you need help, if you're like me, single woman with arthritis in my fingers and I can't do that kind of stuff, ask on the Yahoo group, and you know, somebody will step up to give you a hand. Josie?
I just wanted to ask, we've got a lot of single pane basement windows. Does anybody have any suggestions of inexpensive fixes in securing those?
I do, I just did it.
Okay.
I got a piece of like 1-inch thick plywood, and because my window was kicked in years ago by a kid, and I put it in from the inside and screwed it in, but somebody may have better, you know, I know it's unsightly, but it is on the side of the house, and those are the windows that do get kicked in.
You could
But
go with
I
metal
really wanna
bars
do it.
screwed in. You want something you can still access getting out in case your house catches on fire and you're in the basement. You need a light source down there other than screwing over. I mean, that's the one drawback.
Metal bars. Where do you make this Home Depot?
Yeah,
I'm
Lowe's.
gonna be home alone this week.
Lowe's
My
or,
kids are nervous.
no, Lowe's or Home Depot.
Call me Josie.
Home Depot, Lowe's.
Another thing that I did is get, over at Oak Hill Hardware, a piece of plexiglass. This doesn't stop the kicking in of the frame, but it stops the breaking of the glass and opening it. Get a piece of plexiglass and they can pre-drill holes. You can then, I screwed it like 16 times around the window frame on the inside. So even if the glass is broken from the outside, they'll never get through the frame with that plexiglass there.
Does anybody
anybody have any, is there anybody else here?
This young
Yeah,
lady
go,
has a
Sarah.
question.
I just wanted to say real quick, don't be afraid to be a cop caller. I'm a cop caller. I'm proud of it. I'll do it. That's what I do. And if you're afraid of calling the cops, you don't want to bother them.